Okay, so this is the Excel audit tool that we're hoping everyone's going to work off. If you don't know what to do by the end of this tutorial and the others, it probably means that you would benefit from the day-long workshop that we will make available to people who don't know how to drive Excel at all, who are still confused about the components of the audit. This is starting on worksheet number 1, which is the cover page. And here you're literally just going to write in the date that you're doing the audit, and I'm going to write October 2012, and that's going to come up there. The name of the facility, Mish's house, and the person completing this audit we're going to put as Mish, and that's all you're going to do on the cover page. It will transport across to the report, which I'll show you now, and that just gives you, for when you print out the report, it gives you for what date it is, what facility, and the person completing it, because this is actually a protected worksheet. So the cover page is just to help populate that report. This is where all the down and dirty work happens, and this is your data collection sheet. So you've already selected 100 folders randomly, and this is where you're going to put in your data. I'm not going to waste time by populating this whole sheet to go further, so we've actually got a sheet that has been populated already. This was using the 100 folders that we picked randomly, and this is to actually look at triage acuity mix. In order to get a triage acuity mix, obviously we just want to work with the first 100 folders, and so I'm just going to show you on the report. This is what has come up. We can already see the percentage of folders that have got the correct triage paperwork inside you. We've got with the correct twos, etc. from the report, and the acuity breakdown, which we obviously want to use from our random folders, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. It's not actually a true reflection of what we're seeing. So that's 100 random folders. So we've combined the triage and the waiting time audit. And part of what happened when we did that is that in getting the random folders to check on triage breakdown, we may end up with less folders of a particular triage category than we need to reliably look at emergency center waiting times for each triage category. Now, the reason we want to look at each triage category is because obviously it makes sense that a time that would be acceptable for a green patient to wait is not going to be acceptable for a red patient to wait. So we have stratified according to triage categories so we can look at them and their particular times. So from our 100 folders, it may well be that we don't have enough of a particular triage category that will give us meaningful results. So we've got 100 folders here. These were our random folders. What we've got here is the next worksheet, which shows us a folder count helper. So I'll click onto that. You only use this after you've actually entered the data from the 100 randomly chosen folders, because otherwise it's going to make no sense. But immediately what you can see is you need 26 more red folders in order to get proper data about your red patient waiting times. All the other folders, it seems you've actually got enough in your 100 folders to actually get proper waiting time data from there. So what you can do now is go and specifically choose patients that were triaged red. Probably one of the easiest ways of doing that is just going to your resus register and picking them from there. This is a bit of a schlep, and especially if you're getting green patients and orange and yellow patients that you need more of, but it saves you from the previous audit, which was choosing 30 of each color, which people really didn't like. Okay, so we have miraculously added some more folders so that we've got enough red folders to make up a proper report. So let's go and have a look at what the report shows us. The front page shows us more about triage. So triage, looking at, do we have the correct paperwork? How's the choose calculation going? eventually was the patient assigned the correct color or not, and also just looking at which folders actually had everything present and correct. Also shows us the acuity breakdown, and obviously this is just taken from the first 100 folders. And because it's got nowhere else to go, but it's something that we think is very important, is we're actually looking at the percentage of patients that are triaged before they actually get their folder. Because triage has been shown to save lives and getting a folder out has not. So we always want to triage the patients before they have to wait for a folder. Okay, then what we've got is per color category, we've got waiting times. And following the request from the last audit, we've given you waiting times in hours and minutes, and we've given you median, lowest and highest waiting times. What you can see here is we've said that if they are less than 20 data points, giving us an idea of, in this case, it's the time from the senior healthcare professional's assessment to the time that they are referred, then we're just going to highlight insufficient data, because we don't really just want to reflect one patient's data as an overall assessment of how we're doing on waiting times. So we have to have at least 20 patients' data so that we can report. We have that for orange patients, for yellow patients, and for the green patients as well. And you'll see that these have been set out so that you can actually just print out the report. So each of these are on a separate page. Strangely enough, we don't have sufficient data in our pilot to get us any data on here, but that's fine. This might be what your report looks like anyway, and it will actually indicate to you maybe where special effort needs to be made to improve documentation, for example. We don't have a length of stay for green discharge patients because often it's not recorded when the patient leaves the emergency centre, and so that might be an important thing to start recording. These are APP measures. The time from referral to admission. In fact, the APP measure just wants to know what percentage of patients spend more than 16 hours in the emergency centre before they are admitted. We want to look at other hours though as well, which is why we've stratified it according to this. You can see it's a small number of folders, so again you can't extrapolate much from it, but it does give an idea of where those patients are falling. And for our CHCs, I think another important parameter is the time from referral to transfer of a patient. And so you've got your pie charts there. What we've got here is just a comparison between our triage categories and the particular time. So arrival time to triage, arrival time to getting a folder, triage to senior healthcare professional, senior healthcare professional to disposal, senior healthcare professional to referral, and then referral to disposal. The way that this is set up is if you don't have enough data, it's actually just going to sit on the naught here. So naught doesn't mean that there wasn't any time between triage and the senior healthcare professional. It means that we don't have any times there. We don't have any of them recorded, and so that's going to sit on naught. This is our total length of stay in the emergency centre in minutes. That's possibly not helpful, but you do get the total length of stay in the tables above. This is really just so that you can eyeball it. And then this is taking those medians and looking at average length of stay, which is the height of the entire column, but also where the bigger lots of time are spent by the various triage categories. And finally, what you get in the report is the disposal breakdown. So for your facility, you can see how many patients were admitted, how many were admitted to the emergency centre overnight ward, how many were discharged, how many transferred, and how many died out of the patients' folders that you selected. And again, that's going to be out of the first 100 because those were randomly chosen.